Hello, and welcome to the Ministry of the Real Truth. I am your host, the Couch Screamer. Today we are looking further into the Who Are the Real Jews, or Israelites in this case, videos, and found this interesting PDF by the Hebrew Israelites. We will look at their statements and verify or prove them as established facts. This is their statements, or they're false, via the King James Version and the original ancient, very old manuscripts from the sacred scribe or old tongue or language of the Old Testament prophets, copied and compiled by the Old Testament scribes and monks in Edessa, or Urhai Edessa, now modern Turkey, around 800 BC to 900 BCE. This is the language, or this is the old tongue or old language of the Old Testament prophets, i.e. Moses to Isaiah to Ezra, translated into the nearest English equivalent, and staying faithful to what those original manuscript scriptures actually will really say. These being translated by a native-born Aramaic-speaking translator from Bet Naharain, or Mesopotamia, in Assyria or Syria, with over 15 years experience. He did many documentaries as well. He had 30 years in film work. He's a graduate of the San Francisco Film Academy, USA, and he translated that long dead old tongue or language by reviving it with a method of using the root words of perhaps the modern vernacular like the Syriac. So let's look at what these Hebrew Israelites have stated and therefore claimed, to check out if they're actually true or complete phooey. Okay, it's titled, you can download it for free off the internet. Okay, what are, or who are the true Jews of the Bible? And they ask, are the so-called African Americans, Afro-Americans, coloured people, black people of America, or Negroes, truly descended from the indigenous people of Africa, Ethiopians, Cush, Egyptians, Mizraim, Somalians, Libyans, South Africans? No. They are the true Jews according to the King James 1611 version of the Holy Bible, and they state, brace yourself for another emotional roller coaster. The truth will make you mad and red, especially if we prove that they are talking a lot of jibber jabber and that is all false. All the statements are false. So we're going to be looking at or using this old King James Bible 1611. I actually reprinted it in 1967 and 1968. It's very heavy because it's got a Bible index, concordance section on every book of the Bible, both the Old Testament and New Testament, Renaissance paintings. There's paintings by Renaissance artists, like this, of the Virgin Mary and Joseph holding the baby Jesus, right? And plenty more. An authorized King James Version, and it has what most of these other King James versions don't have, the dedication letter from the translators to the then Prince James, or later King James, James of Stuart of Scotland, saying thank you for freeing us from the Roman Catholic Popish rule, suppression, etc., restricting us, limiting us on what the scriptures actually say, etc., Okay, he kept them out of those the committee when he commissioned certain people to translate a new English version. Apparently he didn't like the Puritan version, so he wanted this new English version for the people, and he kept the Roman Catholics out, right? That committee. Apparently from a informant, and shout out to you out there, informant person, for making us aware that they did have the Apocrypha in this old 1611 King James, but at some point when we did our personal research, we found that they took it out. It was taken out because they believed it didn't belong there, somewhere in the 1800s. Okay, so we're going to look at that and the ancient Old Aramaic translated into English, okay, by Victor N. Alexander. Okay, so what are they saying here? What are they asking? Are the so-called African Americans, so tiny, Afro-Americans, coloured people, black people of America, or Negroes, truly descended from the indigenous or Aboriginal people, the original peoples of Africa, the Ethiopians, Cush, Egyptians, Mizraim, Somalians, Libyans, South Africans? No, they are the true Jews according to the King James 1611 version of the Holy Bible. And then they make the statement, brace yourself for another emotional roller coaster. The truth will make you mad and red. Yeah, it will, if it's completely bogus, right? If what they're saying is established fact and true, proves otherwise. It proves to be false or phooey or jibber-jabber, right? The scriptures clearly describe the Jews of the Bible as having dark skin, or, as you may say, black skin, or as many still say, and then they use the N-word, okay, which we're not going to repeat on here. They've got the right to do that, right? Okay, because they were labelled that since the slave days, or whatever, right? Okay, which probably comes from Nigeria or Neger, okay, in Africa. So they're saying Lamentations 4:8. So we're going to use this big old heavy King James 1611 1968 published King James Bible version here. You look that up, okay, because unfortunately the translator hasn't, the Mesopotamian hasn't translated Job or Lamentations. It's quite old, right? Okay, so we're going to have a look at Lamentations first. Let's go find it. We did have a bookmarked. Okay, what's it? 4:8, okay, which reads in the King James version, in the old Shakespeare speak, the old Romeo and Juliet language. 4:8. Their visage is blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones, or it clings to their bones. It is withered. It has become like a stick. Okay, there's no mention there that they are actually black people, right, or Africans or anything like that. Okay, it appears that, especially to these Hebrew Israelites, that it's stating that the people were black, or Africans, or whatever, right? Because of their ideology, they've got to find something to verify that, right, to put it across to their members, etc., like that, right? So what we did is we went to Strong's. Hold on a second. The Bible says that the visage of the Jews is blacker than a coal. What is the meaning of this word, visage, in the dictionary? Well, we can tell you from the original Aramaic. Visage was in the likeness, the image of. It's like a portrait of God, the first beings that were created, both male and female, which weren't Adam and Eve. Okay, because it states in Genesis, maybe it's 1:4 or something like that, or 1:6, that he created human beings, right, in his likeness, not from the dust, etc., etc. Okay, in his likeness, his image. They had his visage. He created them. There's two or more. Both. So there's two or more. Okay, male and female, not Adam and Eve. He's not talking about Adam and Eve, which matches the archaeological and scientific discoveries, the historical discoveries, okay, of a different pre-Adamic beings. Okay, so we have a look at further down. Okay, visage, poetic, literary. Okay, from the concise Oxford English Dictionary. This is getting it from the English Dictionary, the 10th edition, to verify that these Jews were actually black. Okay? Note here, they're getting it from the English Dictionary. Right? There's a problem there, because if all original ancient scriptures were written in, say, the original ancient or very old Aramaic or the very old Hebrew, okay, not the modernized Aramaic or the modern Hebrew, these very ancient old dead languages, but dead tongue, you would have to use a system or a method, possibly using the root words of that modern language or vernacular, to be able to translate those old dead, no longer used languages, right? As native born Aramaic speaking translator from Mesopotamia Syria, with 15 years experience. Victor N. Alexander has done, right, to be able to translate the old tongue, the Ninevite-Aramaic, which was what Jonah was speaking in his day when he went to the Asherai, the Ninevites in Mesopotamia, Assyria, right? Okay. So there it says, supposedly says they're black as gold, right? So we go further, knowing that the word visage relates to a person's facial features. Okay, if the Jews of the Bible have facial features blacker than a coal, how are they Caucasian Edomites? Even more interesting, why are there so-called white people referring to themselves as Jews? Because the devil is a liar. The Edomites conceived to our lifestyle in 135 BC and 740 AD. The people of Khazaria converted after mixing with Edomites and migrated from Mt-Seir to the Caucasus Mountains, the real cave dwellers. Okay, so a bit of history there. You had Khazaria, which is like, it's as big as Russia. They're very warlike, etc. You've got to go do your personal research and your history, okay, to find out, you know, the facts. It was a big nation, and apparently they had the Crusaders on the left. It's just an example. There's the Crusaders on the left who would have invaded them, right? Would have been really upset if they are having the Mohammedans or Islam on the right were invaded by them and converted to Islam, right? So it's got either coming to invade them. So this king of Khazaria goes, oh geez, what am I going to do? Because he loved this people, right, obviously. So he's like, what do I do? They have a whole lot of Jews that are already there living within that land, right? So he decides, aha, I'll go neutral. I won't pick either side. We'll just go with these Jews, right? We'll adopt their religion, customs, traditions, etc., like that, right? So they became basically clones of these Jews, and then they spread out, right? And possibly ended up in Israel, or whatever, all around the world. But they weren't liked. Yeah, them or the Jews weren't liked because they were very money orientated, money lenders, bankers, etc. And they seemed to end up owning everything. So that's why people hated them, detested them, and tried to drive them out, right? Ban them, etc., etc., and spoke ill of them. Okay, so okay, so they start quoting the Bible because the devil is a liar. The Edomites converted to our lifestyle, the black people's lifestyle, in 135 BC and in 740 AD. The people of Khazaria converted after mixing with Edomites that migrated from Mount Seir to the Caucasus Mountains, the real caves of dwellers. Well, we just gave you the real history there. Okay, that's probably an alternative history which suits them. You got Lamentations 5:10. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. Where's that? 5. 5:10. Right? Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. There you go. Right? They've just contradicted themselves. Okay? Their skin was like an oven because of the terrible famine. So what is this verse up here saying? Their visage or their likeness is blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets because their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It has become like a stick. Right? So they weren't recognised by the people in the city, in the streets of that city. But they didn't recognise them anymore because they looked horrible. Right? Like they were sick. They were starving or something. Like something was wrong with them. There's no meat on their bones. Right? Okay, that's what it's saying. So people might go, oh no, that's not what it's saying, right? So what we did was we went to Strong's because all we knew was they were using the word shakar, mentioning that they went to Strong's Concordance, right? So we went there. We had a look at 783.7, and it says in the New American Standard Bible, charm away dawning of the day, daybreak, morning, right? Okay, so that's not saying they're black there, right? It's saying day spring, early light, morning, whence rises. From shakar, dawn, literal, figurative, or adverbial, day spring, early light, morning, whence rises. See the Hebrew shakar, etc., etc. Right? So we thought, okay, that's what's that? 7837. We'll check out The next one, because obviously something there, right? Why they refer to it as black, these people as black. Okay, so primitive root, definition to be black. New American Standard translation turns black, right? Late Hebrew, could be a modern Hebrew. Derivatives, black, blackness, etc., etc. Okay, Assyrian, Suru, cold, and so forth. Strong's exhaustive concordance, black. Primitive root, identical with shakar through the ideas of the duskiness of early dawn, to be dim or dark in colour, be black. Okay, so that's a different. It's a different definition of it, right? Okay, 783.5. So then we had a look at 783.6, yeah, which states to look early or diligently for. Okay, and here's some translations from the New American Standard Bible. Okay. Strong's exhaustive concordance. Do something. Betimes inquire early, betimes seek diligently early in the morning. Primitive root, properly, to dawn, i.e. figuratively, be up early at any task, etc., etc. Okay, so you got three different definitions of that according to each number, right? So what they got to do is they got to understand, because they went to the Concise Oxford English Dictionary to getting the English definition of it, not the Eastern. Because keep in mind that these people that wrote these scriptures, translated these scriptures, originally had an Eastern education, the traditions and customs, etc., the language, since infancy, right? They knew all that. So they had obviously developed, taken on board and developed an Eastern mindset. So what you're trying to do with your Americanized modern Bible versions in the English is you're trying to interpret the Eastern text using a Western mindset. It doesn't gel. It's like oil and water. It doesn't mix. Okay, it'll never gel. Yeah. So you also have to be careful of these modern versions, all of them except for the King James Version or the Shakespeare Speak, because check out our video. We might leave it underneath this video from the Brian guy, the beard and the glasses, who defines, who traces where all these translations originated from. Okay, for example, the Roman Catholics, scribes, monks, supposedly translated from the original Hebrew into the original Greek, and then into Old Germanic, and then into Old Latin, because what's his name? Martin Luther was a German monk, translated into the Latin, being a Roman Catholic scribe, priest, monk, etc. And then it was translated from there into the Old English, Middle English, Shakespeare Speak, and then into modern English, the Americanized English. And these are the versions that you've got from that one source, the Roman Catholic. Check out the video, we'll leave the link down the bottom as evidence, right? Check out that video, right? And he tells you, he describes, he details it all to you, right? Okay, so they all come from that Roman Catholic Church with their corruptions, their lies, etc., pushed through the American Bible Society. So that's what you're reading from. Okay, be it NIV, ESV, ABC, New King James Version, whatever. They're all Roman Catholic to push their Roman Catholic Apocrypha, etc., etc. Say being duped, you've been suckered. Okay, it's stuff that people out there don't know or don't want to believe. They argue with us and say, no, my NIV doesn't come from there. Well, this is because they haven't done the research, because they're being told and sold that that's from the original Aramaic, from the original Hebrew, from the original Greek, etc., etc. When you check out words like theoria, right, or theoria in the Italian or the Roman, right, Latin, right, sometimes it's accentuated, you'll find that it's a lot of these words in there translated from the so-called Greek into English are actually a form of Latinized Greek. Okay, They're not from the ancient Aramaic or the original Hebrew as they claim. Why? Because they would have to go do that certain method, right? Because they're all dead languages. The old Hebrew, the old Greek, the Latin, Norse, Old English, Old Germanic, etc. So you'd have to revive them using a certain method as we described, right? Okay. So yeah, these people are running around telling you this is the truth, we got the truth, and all that sort of stuff, when you actually got these Roman Catholic versions. Okay, that's why they're called the New King James, the New International Version, the New English Standard, the New Revised Version, because it's all Roman Catholic twisted, right? Okay, so Lamentations 4:8. So yeah, that's basically what it's saying by these people were recognised in the streets because they had this black appearance. Their bones were like withered, or their skin was withered, like sticks, right? Because they had some sort of famine, because of some sort of famine, which states that right here. Our skin was black like an oven, similar to, if you're going to use the English, an oven. And here's the reason: because of the terrible famine that they were going through, right? Okay. It says here, Job was an Israelite. Let's see how he describes himself. So we look at Job 30:30. It's in here somewhere. I'll mark it on. Job 30:30. Okay, this is one we King James Version. Right, that we're talking about. And it says, okay, 30:30. 30 verse 30. 30 verse 30. My skin is black upon me, and my bones are burned with heat. Okay. My heart also is turned to mourning, and my organ into the voice of them that weep. Okay. So again, this is in Old English, or Shakespeare speak, or even a Latinized form of Greek translated into Middle English, right? They have a different way of understanding it and expressing themselves, right? It's Romeo Juliet language, right? Okay. So it's not saying that the person is an African or a Negro or anything like that, okay? It's not saying that, right? Okay, look at this again. Job, an Israelite, says that his skin is black upon him. Must I proceed, or must this Hebrew Israelite proceed? Okay, he's actually got it wrong. We just verified that. Okay, let us continue. Job says, and my bones are burned with heat. That is referring to the affliction he was going through. There you go. The famine. It's not saying that he was black, right? That he was African. So they carry on and they say, or whoever this person says, King Solomon, one of the wisest black men, they're saying he's black, right, to ever walk the face of the earth, and one of the greatest kings of the nation of Israel, describes himself as a black man. Let me guess. You want proof? Okay, so we'll look at Song of Solomon, 1 verse 1. Got it marked here somewhere. It's not that far from Job, I think. Okay, here we go. Okay, from the King James Version here. Right. Yeah. Song of Solomon. Though its inclusion in the canon of the scripture has given rise to many kinds of allegorical interpretation, the book is literally a composite of ancient Israelite love poems between a man and a woman, possibly Solomon and his then possible lover. Okay. Song of Solomon's 1 verse 1. The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. Let him kiss me, this is a woman, right, with the kisses of his mouth, for thy love is better than wine. Because of the savour of thy good ointments, thy name is an ointment poured forth, therefore do the virgins love thee. Okay. So it's not Solomon talking about a woman, or it's a woman talking about Solomon. Yeah.